All right, my name is Shawn McCray, representing Zoo Crew Basketball, Central High School, City of Newark. I'm on the show with Jay Haleen. Gonna talk about some things today, and hopefully provide you guys with some information.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jay Halim, and we are back with another special. This is special for me, but special episode of S.T.A.R.V.E Talk. I always say I had a dopest guest, and you guys find out later on that I'm telling the truth all the time. But for me, this is a special one. You guys are going to enjoy this. I always look. I got the pretty women in here that made $1 million and all that other stuff like that. I have the big business people, everything like that. But this is near to my heart, near and dear to my heart. Y'all know I never shied away, letting you know I'm from Newark, New Jersey. This is one of the pioneers in my city, in my era of being not just all that garbage that we talk about, what our city was known for in that time, but watching people really, saying they want to help the community. This is a brother who actually did it, did it from both sides of the spectrum. And it's important that we put people like this on display to let people outside of the city know what's really happening, as opposed to the New Jersey drives and, and all that other nonsense that they talk about with Newark and the stolen car things. We have some amazing people coming out of the city of Newark, not just Shaq, not just, Tisha Campbell and all them other people, but it's people that's there still with their nose to the grindstone and making things happen, and truly legends in our city. And today, this brother is no exception. He definitely fits the bill. Coach Shawn McCray, affectionately known to us in the city and in the South was OG. OG, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for letting me talk to you today.
Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, man. Let's just get right to it, man. So Zoo Crew, me, I was born in Lincoln Street Projects, moved over to Hawthorne Avenue, early 80s. My parents went to Central. My mother's siblings went to Central and Equipment Street. I moved over there. I ended up going to Peshawn and went to North Tech to play basketball, but ended up finishing out with Weekway. So we're all around what you've been around. So I got a chance to see you from a distance being a younger cat. But let's talk about the beginning, man. You were a basketball star in your own right, coming out of Central and coming out of Newark. So how was that transition playing high school ball and what was Newark like at that time, coming up in the 70s, early 80s?
I got my first start organized basketball going to St. Rocco's. I went to St. Rocco's out of for 7th and 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
I had got a scholarship from Cleveland. They had this program where they were taking inner city kids and putting them in Catholic school. So I always played sports in my neighborhood. I grew up in Hayes Home Projects, and when I went to St. Rocco's, I tried out for the basketball team. At that time, I was about 6'1", 6'2" already in the 7th grade. Yeah, so I tried out for the team. I made the team. And I had a pretty good 2 years at St. Rocco's. And then I got another scholarship, academic scholarship, to go to St. Benedict's. Wow. So I went to St. Benedict's. I was there for 3.5 years. I hated every year there. Now that I look at it, it was probably beneficial for me, but at the time, I didn't want to be in the school with all boys. I wanted to go to school with my friends. You know what I'm saying? So I played there for 3 years, and then my senior year, I was told I wasn't going to graduate. I could do another year at St. Benedict's, and I wasn't really feeling that because I was trying to get out of there the 3 years I was there. But, I was trying to fail on purpose because, like I said, I got an academic scholarship, so the academics wasn't never a problem for me. I just didn't want to be there. So I felt if I failed, they would put me out. Yeah. And they did. And that backfired on me. And, my senior year, I went there till October of my senior year, and they told me, you're not going to graduate. You're not on course for the courses you needed at St. Benedict. So I told my mom the next day I went to Central. I transferred to Central where all my friends was at, where I wanted to be from the beginning. Yeah. And it worked out for me, man. We had a pretty good season that year. I got MVP on the team. We had a good team. I was the two-man. I was 6'5". That's how big we were. Wow. So the basketball back then was different. My big man was 6'7" and 6'8". You know what I mean? My guard was 6 feet. So we had a big squad.
Yeah, definitely.
So back then, most of the kids in the neighborhood went to their neighborhood schools. So, projects, you came from Howard Street. So when you went to Central, you had to compete against kids from Scudder Home Projects, kids from Baxter Terrace, Hayes Homes, Prince Street.
Yep.
So it was deep back then. Basketball was serious. Some kids that could play didn't make the team. You know what I mean? It was so stacked and things like that. And if you was a 9th and 10th grader back then, you basically played JV. There was no freshman teams back then. But you wasn't on varsity. Like some of these freshmen now, they come and be right in on varsity. Back then, it wasn't
happening.
Nah, you would have had to been exceptional to actually play on the varsity level back then. But yeah, like I just said, I had a good career in high school. I hindered myself by not doing the schoolwork at St. Benedict, so I had to go to a junior college out of Central, and I went up to Pennsylvania to Keystone.
Yeah,
and had a pretty good 2 years there. We lost in the National Junior College Championship my freshman year, and my sophomore year I kind of hurt my knee, so we didn't have the same kind of season. And then I transferred and went to Caldwell University right here in New Jersey, and I became the all-time leading scorer up there. I'm actually in the Hall of Fame at Keystone and at Caldwell, and
wow.
I scored 1,059 points in 2 years at Caldwell. That record still stands.
Damn.
So yeah, I'm like 7th or 8th on the scoring list. I was only there 2 years. I got that 1,000, and you know everybody that's ahead of me, they was there 4 years and passed my points, but I still have the record for most points in 2 years.
That's crazy. So you're still dealing with kids, and we're gonna get back to the timeline, but dealing with kids now, what's that conversation like? Because everybody want to go to the name school. You know what I'm saying? And like, but today, making those numbers, you can make some money. You know what I'm saying?
Today.
You know what I'm saying? Today.
With that NIL stuff, yeah, these kids getting paid, but a lot of these kids are not. I try to tell them, you got to be a dog. You got to have some talent. You got to have work ethic. In this day and age, if you want to, you know, get to the next level as far as Division I basketball, you know, they think because they make a highlight tape, they put up things on Instagram, like they Division I players, man. It's a lot of work, you know, to get to a Division I school, and people investing money in you. They're not just investing money in you just to bring you in because you think you can play. If they bring you there, they believe you can play. You know what I mean? But a lot of these kids is I call them microwave babies, man. They want it right now. You know what I mean? Like, opposed to when I was growing up, you really had to put something in the oven when you came in the house to warm up your dinner.
Exactly.
You had to put it in the oven.
A little while, have some patience.
Wait a little while. Yeah, these guys throw it right in the microwave, 2 minutes, the food ready. You know what I'm saying?
But you appreciated it too, though. You appreciated it too. You appreciated what your mom did when she was putting it in the oven. You appreciated if you had to wait for that food and put it in the oven and stuff like that. Appreciate it differently. So yeah, man, I had to think about that because, you know, working with the basketball and me playing myself, I played for Newark Tech, you know, I was doing very well. I had to talk with the St. Benedict scenario, but I threw that cold water on that immediately because I'm like, I'm not going all boys. And it was still like a partial situation and my people ain't had no money anyway. So I'm like, man, Newark Tech, I can get some burn immediately and go from there. And we had a good team. You know, Shabazz was ruling supreme at that time when we was, you know, with Fee and all of them. But we still competed. And you know what North Tech was doing at that time. So we competed. But yeah, we didn't have the options that they have now to come out of school. And nobody talked about us saying, go to Keystone. It should have been talking about what you were doing as opposed to Zoo Crew, the other side of it. So how did you connect and how did Zoo Crew get started?
Well, like I said, I grew up in Hayes Home Projects, 87. Well, they were supposed to tear those buildings down later.
Yeah.
But during the mid 80s, you know, the crack and all that stuff came in and the projects was already out of hand. But when the drugs came, it got worse. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you couldn't track anything. Guys are standing in front of the building, police come, people running up in the building, you don't know where they at. So they moved us. I came home from school in 87. I was a sophomore in college going into my junior year, and my mom was packing up, and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, we moving. And I'm like, well, where we going? She was like, they're moving us to Chadwick Avenue. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm from the projects. You don't really go outside your comfort zone.
Exactly.
You know, everything you need is within them projects. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we moved over there. Some of my friends that lived in my building was moved over there as well. And at that time, I started dibbling, dabbling in the streets. I came home from Keystone, and I was going to Caldwell at this time. And, you know, that's when I noticed that the neighborhood changed, you know, the buildings just didn't look the same. You know, the people didn't look the same. You know, the drugs took over. So we moved on Chadwick, and you know, we got it going over there. And back in like I want to say like 89, 90, you know, we was always community guys. If you could understand what I'm saying,
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Even outside of the drug part, we always was knowledgeable of what was going on in the world, in our community, and we always spoke about it. And a couple of guys branched off and started throwing parties. You know, they started throwing parties at Club Sensations, Zanzibar.
Wow, throwback.
The L, you know, Eleganza, like
wow.
different places, like, and you know, guys was like, yo, we need to get some shirts so people know, you know, it's us throwing the party. We got to come up with a name. And one of my friends was like, you know, they call us animals, man. Why don't we call ourselves the Zoo Crew? And then we thought about it, and everybody was like, damn, that sound all right. It was like, yeah. So they started throwing parties, putting Zoo Crew on T-shirts, and it took off. We had a following within people in Newark, because we were good guys. We wasn't bad guys, and we were for the community. We were for the kid. We were young. I was about 20, 21 at the time, and I might have been one of the oldest members. So everybody else was like 18, 19, 20. You know what I mean? So once we did that, it kind of grew, and then, you know, it took off from there. But they flipped it and said it was a drug gang, which it wasn't. It wasn't started for that. It was started for promoting parties and things like that.
Yeah, nah, man, look, again, for me, so at that point, 90, 91, you know, I'm 10, 11 years old, and the name is already ringing bells because my grandmother worked at the legendary Tom's, you know, the chicken shack.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
my grandmother, she worked at the chicken shack, Miss Dot. She worked at the chicken shack for years until she couldn't work no more. So we would come over there, you know, and come to get some food at nighttime. You know, we was always good. Mr. Tom, his daughter, Thomasina, like they were always good to us. So we knew the area, and my grandmother was good in the area. The Tom's stayed open all the time. So between where I stayed, you know, in Hawthorne, we were going B&E's, you know what I'm saying, or coming to Tom's when we doing something we ain't had no business doing. We young, we just over to buy some liquor, something like that. So that was the spots that stayed open all night for the most part. So we familiar, and you come up, hey, that's Zoo Crew territory over there, right? So we already knew what time it was. But we were never fearful. And then we went to school with the kids, you know what I'm saying? So they went to Belmont Runyon, Bergen, and some people still went over to Peshon because they had family members over there, something like that. So we knew each other, you know what I mean? And it was still community-based type thing. So we felt protected. I never went over to Chadwick and felt nervous, you know what I'm saying, when I would come over there. And vice versa. I know people from Chadwick didn't feel bad coming to Hawthorne and Bergen, coming over that side where we were. So we didn't feel like that. We looked up to you guys. So 96, the basketball started.
Right.
What was the thought behind that, starting the AAU team?
Well, I played AAU. When I was in high school, I played for the Newark Y. That was the only AAU team in the city. Everybody in northern New Jersey played for the Newark Y. Cats from Jersey City, everybody from Essex County. So, you know, I think everything now is watered down, because back then tryouts for AAU was about 100 kids.
You got that right.
In tryouts. So everybody didn't play AAU like now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People create teams. So I played for the Newark Y, and one of my coaches at that time was Brian Crawford. And Sandy was also with the Newark Y before he even started the Roadrunners. So they were coaches for the YMCA with some other guys from Jersey City. And when I started doing the basketball, Brian Crawford had the Newark Rams. So I had a connection with him. So I reached out to him, said, I got some kids in my neighborhood. They need to play AAU, blah, 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 blah. I took them up there to try out. A couple of them made it. A couple of them got cut. But then he gave out a letter with how much money they had to pay to be in the program.
Wow.
Now, yeah, these guys didn't really have the funds. Their parents didn't have the funds. And at that time, I was trying to pull myself away from the streets. So I wasn't really doing it like I was doing it before that. And I went back to the neighborhood and talked to one of my friends, and I asked him, told him what was going on. He said, why don't you start your own program? And I said, start my own program. He was like, yeah, just start a program, reach out to people about the tournaments and things like that, and go from there. So I did a little research on it, and I started the name. I started a Zoo Crew Youth Program at that time. I went down to the Hall of Records, registered the name, opened up a bank account, And that was it. I started with like 12 kids from the neighborhood. AJ was one of them.
Yep. Yeah.
And we took it from there, man, with about 12 kids, ages I want to say maybe 14 to 16 at that time. And we played in our first tournament in Rutherford. We won the tournament, and the winner got invited to Akron, Ohio, and we went out to Akron and played in the tournament out there as well. That was the first time I traveled. That was in like June of 1996, because I started it in March '96. So the first tournament we was in, we won the championship, and we went down to Ohio and competed.
And that was legendary for the city, man, because you had all we heard was, and that was like right when I'm in high school, so you only heard of the Rams and the Roadrunners, and the Roadrunners was like the major players, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You knew it was possibly going to go D1, and then you had the Rams, and like you said, I think they used to have their tryouts at St. Rocco,
right?
And so and St. Rocco's gym is small,
right?
And so it's 100,
a lot of ball players came out of there, though, man.
For sure. So. And I've been there on a Saturday, and it's a lot of us. And they're like, hey, they already pretty much got their team. They trying to get 2 or 3 people, and that's it. And so very discouraging. You know what I'm saying? You'll hear those conversations, things of that nature. So yeah, man. The very next year, life was changed for Zoo Crew as we know it in '97.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that part right there. And I'm gonna add to it with my story, because I want people to understand the magnitude of how big y'all was outside of that nonsense.
Well, what happened was in June '97, a young lady, Danette Strawberry Daniels, she was on Clinton and Chadwick, and she came out the corner store and asked a young guy for a quarter or something like that. This kid was like 15, 16. And as the police was pulling up, coming through Chadwick, approaching Clinton Avenue, they looked and they thought they were doing a drug transaction. And they got out the car and they threw the lady on the car, whatever. She was pregnant at the time. So people felt some type of way, the way he was, treating the lady that was pregnant. But she was a person in the community who used drugs. So everybody knew her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he put her in the back seat of the car. He handcuffed her to the front and put it in the back seat of the car. It was an unmarked police car, so it wasn't no guard, to separate the front seat from the back seat. So for whatever reason, I don't know, she climbed over the seat and threw the car in reverse, and the car started going backwards, and the officer jumped in the car and he shot her. He shot her in the head and he killed her. You know what I mean? So that happened on Clinton Avenue on the corner of Chadwick. And the community got outraged, man. And we were pretty much the face of the community. We had a little following. And at the end of the day, man, Jokers was, dealing drugs or whatever. But at the end of the day, you're a human being. You got feelings and emotions just like everybody else. So, the labels we put on people don't matter. They still human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we stood up for the community, man. And rest in peace, Miri Baraka. I came down to Chadwick and riled up the people, and we stepped in when we shouldn't have, because we wasn't all the way legit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we marched down to City Hall and protested against the police officer. And Sharp James sided with the people. Now '98 was coming up. That's an election year, so
exactly.
you got and then they start. Campaigning like a year ahead of time. So that was like his campaign. That now that I look at it, when I got older. So he sided with the people, and he suspended the Officer Robert Leaks, and the police officers got upset, and they formed their own little group. They had their own little marches. They had T-shirts with a Blue Crew on the front.
Yeah.
And Zoo Crew on the back with bars, with hands holding on to the bars, and it had Zoo Crew on the hands. And it was crazy at that time, man. It was like us against the police. And after that, it was they said they was doing a federal investigation. August '97, they raided and rounded up like 31 members, they say, of the Zoo Crew, and I only knew about 8 of them that was actual Zoo Crew people or whatever. And they kind of threw the name all on the front page of the Star Ledger and tried to discredit everything we was doing in the community. A couple of people had businesses. My friend had his clothing store on Clinton Avenue. his aunt had a flower shop on Chadwick. We was right on the cusp of coming out with some signing a record deal. Like a couple of guys was rapping, so they was on the cusp of doing that.
All of that.
Eric Williams was hanging around.
Yep.
You may not believe it, but he got traded from Boston to Denver because of that.
I remember all of that. He used to come to the car wash with Big Sal, Black Sal from Hayes Home Car Wash.
Right.
So we went to Eric's camp. So yeah, I remember all that's going down.
And that's why I try to tell people it was a serious little thing going on back then. And some of those people are still around that was a part of it. I'm talking about not the actual guys in the Zoo Crew, but some of the police officers, some of the politicians, like they're still around. So a lot of that they hold against the actual Zoo Crew name, you know what I mean? With a lot of things that we be trying to do. But we were, like I said, we were positive people if you take away the negativity we were doing. And, you know, it kind of backfired because we shouldn't have came out in the forefront. You know, my friend Terrence, they labeled as a drug kingpin, and he was one of the people that was on Channel 7 saying that, you know, if he see the officer, he arrest him himself. He did that in front of his daughter, this and that. So he felt some type of way. And once that happened, you know, we became a target. He became target number one, and everybody else was underneath him. So, you know, and then they locked up some people, and it kind of tarnished the name a little bit, but I still kept pushing with the basketball because I know what the name meant to me and my friends. I wasn't listening to what everybody else was saying that it was. People were saying Zoo Crew finished in this town and this and that. And, you know, it's only finished if you let them finish you. You know what I mean? So I kept it pushing.
See, this is the thing. So right after that, and I know you know because, and we're going to get into that because you're one of the only ones that didn't go away, you know?
Well, it was me and a couple of other guys, but I had got a phone call that morning, like 6 o'clock, and the person that called me, I had no direct connect with them. They was kind of friends with my friend. Yeah. And back then wasn't no cell phone, so this call came to my house phone. Yeah, exactly. And the first thing, you know, he said was they rounding up people from the Zoo Crew. So I'm like, well, you know, who was this? You know, I don't want to throw no names out there because the person's still around. And I said, how you get my number? Like, you know, how you know my number? So, you know, it was like, I just went and sat in the living room. Man. I ain't gonna sit in front, man. I went and sat in the living room. I mean, if you saw best shots, the same thing I said. I sat in the living room and waited for them to kick the door in because sometimes you're guilty by affiliation, or association, or whatever. But at the time, I wasn't doing nothing in '97 because I started Zoo Crew in '96. Yeah. So I kind of dwindled away from the street part of it. I might have been doing a little 1-2, but not where people could see me like I was before. But no, I was kind of under the radar. So, but I just sat there and waited, man. They never kicked the door in, so I got lucky, man. And it's crazy because years later I was coaching a game. This was 2011. I was coaching a game at Livingston High School, and it was a guy sitting in the stands, and he looked so familiar, man. A white guy. I kept saying to myself, I know this guy from somewhere, but he's diverting my attention because I'm like, damn, where I know this guy from. So we lost the game. We should have never lost this game. We lost the game. And the guy came out the stands. He walked on the court. He was like, hey, man, what's going on? And I was like, yeah, what's going on? I said, where I know you from? He said, my name is Jim Morris. He said, I was the guy on the Zoo Crew case. So I'm looking like, oh, man. He was like, yeah, man, we made the right decision. I said, what you mean you made the right decision? He was like, a couple of people wanted us to bring you in too, but we saw that you was working with the kids and we ain't really have nothing on you, so we let you go. And I was kind of stunned. So I was like, I looked at him, I said, you know what? Thank you. I got to get to my team. I walked away from him. I was definitely. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy that he said he lived in Livingston and he knew I was coaching, so he came to the game. And it was crazy. And if I finally got like, because people was like, yo, why they ain't lock you up? Well, I don't know, but you can pull up any type of paperwork you want to pull up. I ain't on it. And my friends that got locked up, they home now. We still friends. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, I got lucky, man. I tell people
that's how important it is. That's how it's so important to tell that story because, and yes, and we're gonna get to best shot, but somebody like me was directly affected by that you know, from watching you guys.
I think the community was affected, but I don't mean to cut you off.
Are you good?
But if you go back and look after that stuff happened, the Bloods and the Crips crept into the city of Newark.
Oh man.
At that time, we always said we was too smart for that. You know, that's some West Coast stuff. We ain't into that. Newark never had no stuff like that. And as soon as they took down integral people, not just people from the Zoo Crew, but it was other people in the city
I'm with you. Yeah.
that was holding stuff together. And once they all went to jail, the gang stuff seeped into the city of Newark, and it destroyed everything, man. And I think them taking certain people away created that, because people had strongholds on different neighborhoods.
Yes.
And when I say strongholds, they wasn't giving out no orders, but they was respected in that neighborhood. And this is not going to be tolerated here. You know what I mean?
1,000%. No, I'm with you. I put on your post when I saw that you on the book that you participated in. I said that rocked the whole city. Because that summer, I'm 16 years old, right? And I'm in the mix heavy. I'm right on Hawthorne but I'm watching the beefs that started happening because, okay, we can say what we want to say about the negative side of Zoo Crew, but it was feeding people family, right? And so not just on y'all corner, but in multiple parts of the city. And so now these people wasn't being fed anymore. Now the wolves are really out.
Yeah.
And so the wolves is on different sides of town.
Yeah.
That was respected, that got round up, that would have stopped people from going. You got to think about, he wasn't caught in that particular situation, but he was locked up, and he's from y'all hood, Reg Lowe.
Right.
Man, you know how many beefs Reg stopped between Chadwick and Stratford Avenue and Hawthorne Avenue? Because his wife, ex-wife or baby mother Cynthia is from my block. Right. And so I would see he come through there. He done stopped us from getting in trouble plenty of times. Like, it ain't matter how much money Reg got. He was a big-time basketball player from the city too.
Right.
These were good people. It gave us knowledge as the kids, like, yo, I know you trying to make your money, but stay in school, do this. Reg, you know, like these people Reg was away. Most of your crew was away. People from Bradley Court went away.
On Chadwick, if you ain't go to school, you couldn't sell drugs.
And see,
you couldn't be out there anytime by school hours. If you were supposed to be in school, you couldn't be outside selling no drugs. Nobody wouldn't allow you to do it.
Man, I tell those stories and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. I remember literally I'm driving to Weekway and I come to the block like 11 o'clock because they had like a bomb threat. My man was like, I don't care where you go. Don't come back here until after school is over. My big homies, you know what I'm saying? Because they like, look, this is school hours. And it was a respect thing. Like, you couldn't hustle while the kids was on the way to school and when the kids was coming home from school.
You're right.
Like, you couldn't be on the corner. But I tell people that, they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, you just put, like, no, the OGs didn't let that happen.
Right.
And you couldn't just go to anybody's neighborhood. That was the thing that turned me off with the gang situation. Because people who couldn't go to Chadwick and hang like that can come to Chadwick now. You know, because they say they're from the same set. Or you go to, you know, Prince Street and you scared to death to go to Prince Street unless you knew somebody. But now you're part of this set.
You could go there. You
can go over there. But that's not even how they do it in California. Like, they, you know, you from a certain neighborhood. That's why you were in that set. It ain't just, I can be on this side and that side. No, because you in another set of you over there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the crazy part. So what I saw with my own eyes, when I'm young, getting $25 clips, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that.
I hope I wasn't selling them to you.
Nah, you wasn't.
You wasn't. Because that's what I was selling, $25 clips.
Nah, y'all whole block was selling $25 clips. I can't say the names of the people who I used to go to. But, you know, it's all love. But at the end of the day, like, we know it was always a love scenario, and the beefs came over money, real stuff. It wasn't nonsense beefs.
Right.
And when the gang situation came, it gave excuse to have problems. We wasn't ever hurting people for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
But back then, the jokers wasn't trying to kill you either. I'm gonna tell you, I mean, from when I was coming up, the, you know, jokers I hung with and the things that I know, if you did something to somebody, it was a leg shot.
Yeah.
This a warning. You know what I'm saying?
Or beat you up.
Or beat you up.
Because look,
and
dead people don't pay no money.
Right. So if I
how
owe you
you
and you
killing
kill me,
somebody and you still want your money?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
dead people don't pay back no money.
Yeah, it was more warnings back in the day, or somebody would come to you and be like, "Yo, I just spoke to such and such, bro. You owe this man some money, or you messing with his girl, or you doing whatever. Yo, just let it go. This the past right here.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, this the past. You keep on doing it, it's going to be more consequences behind it. But now ain't no more past. It's like the consequences coming soon as we find out something happened, which I don't agree with.
Yeah, I don't even. Y'all just was so monumental to the city, and when that happened, I left to go to college, and I would talk about those stories because I would come back and see Reg when he came home and hang with Fee and them, and AJ actually came to college with me down in South Carolina. So they ain't understand the flow we came with. Like we was raised different, and we was actually ones that was outside. You know what I'm saying? And like we came from some people with actual morals. It didn't matter how we got our money, but we saw morals. We saw just being protected. We saw people that looked like yourself that was looking out for us.
There was rules too, man.
Definitely.
Like I'm telling you, if somebody came with a kid to buy some drugs, we can't serve them. If the person was pregnant and we knew they was pregnant, because you don't really know, but if you see somebody, we can't serve that person. I mean, they're gonna go get it wherever they're gonna go get it, but we not participating in that. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't sell to young people. Back then, most young people wasn't on cocaine.
Yeah, they wasn't on drugs when we got
That
was the thing that threw us off.
So it was codes, morals, and respect. You respected people's parents. Like now, guys be in neighborhoods, they don't know the people that live in the neighborhood. So if they is hustling, somebody coming down the street, you running up to them, bro, that's such and such mother, that's such and such father. You can't be on my block if you don't know who the people is around here. You know what I mean?
That's where the problem came at when the gang culture came, because you're hanging in somebody else's neighborhood. You don't know who the elderly people are. You don't know who. Like you knew whose mom was there and was like, "Yo, you can't." I don't care if she did call the cops on you. She gonna call the cops, but you don't have no ties to her. So you can't come over here and say you hang over here because you're part of a set. Like people hang over here is people who grew up here, who understand what's going on over here. I mean, I lived in the neighborhood with Dave, the legendary cop. Lived. His father owned a house right on Jelliff and Hawthorne, right? So him and his brother live right there. Dave ain't bothering me. He'd rather talk to me first because his little niece was my little childhood girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, so he's not bothering me. Same with Junior. Junior's grandmother lived right on Peshawn and on Hawthorne, still to this day.
Okay.
So all his cousins, most of them passed away in the street, but they were hustling. What is he going to do? These are his first cousins.
Right.
So we understood. That's why we didn't have the cops just shooting people crazy, because we knew them. Junior, I know exactly who you are.
Right.
Definitely. So it's just a different situation, man. So it's good to reminisce on that. But people need to hear that, because this is why we so upset. We're not hating on the Bloods and Crips. We're not hating on how we do it or having nobody do it. But it was a reason why it worked for what we did, and it don't work for where we are. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I'm just happy that I have the opportunity to give you homage and pay homage to you on my platform, man.
I appreciate it.
No doubt. So going forward, man, after that, what was it like immediately, the first tournament, after all of the nonsense that happened, going back, trying to get everybody focused on basketball?
Well, I'm gonna tell you the day that happened. That night we had that night we was in the championship at below the rim, above the rim, right there on Clinton Place and Chancellor. And we actually won the championship. I still had to go coach, despite all that. You know what I mean? And it was a weird feeling, because I didn't know what was really going on. They were still looking for people, and people were arrested. So, but we went up there and we won 3 divisions. We won 3 division championships up there, and I just moved forward from there, man. It was crazy. But the first tournament we went to Ohio, man. I had AJ, Sal Thompson that played at Eastside. Mm-hmm. Rest in peace, John Streeter. It was at Barrington.
My God,
Tut. I mean, Tut doing a new direction right now, but Tut was on my team, man. Tut was pretty
I
good.
remember him, Khalil. Yep.
Yeah, Khalil Tut. You know, he run a new direction. Respect to him. And I had Stink from Avon. That was probably the best player. Every time somebody asked me who the best player I ever coached, I always throw his name out there. He never played high school basketball. The boy was so good. It was sad. Broke my heart when he stopped going to school. But yeah, Stink, AJ. I think I went down there with like 7, 8, but 9 players. I think we had Eddie Ricks that actually played at Shabazz. And we went down there. We ain't had no big man. AJ was our big man, and we lost. Played 4 games, and we lost by a total of like 12 points. Man, Ahmed Peterson was on my team. I went to Central, and we competed, man. And it's crazy because we was in Akron, and this was in '96. So this what 27 years ago.
Yeah.
You might not believe this, man. We was getting on the shuttle bus, man, and my man Dre, he went with me down there. He asked the guy, he was like, man, any good players out here? And he said, man, it's an 11-year-old out here, man. He's so good, man. Everybody, he was 10 years old. He said, he's so good. And we like, yeah. Is he playing in the tour? It was LeBron, yo. Yeah, it was crazy. And then as we got older, and I was like, damn, LeBron, 97, he probably was, because he'd been in the league.
Yeah, so he was 84. Yeah, so LeBron 84, 85. So he had to be like 11 and 12 at that time.
Yeah, so he was talking about LeBron James, and that was crazy. I remembered that, and I'm like, damn, he had to be talking about LeBron, because then LeBron came out of Akron. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Years later, but it was a great tournament. Grant Hill was the guest speaker. It was teams from all over, man. It was a good experience for me as a coach. That was the first time, you know, going out of state with kids. You know, I went as a player, but I never took some kids, and they enjoyed it, man. They didn't want to come back home. So, you know, after that, they like, what's the next tournament? What's the next tournament? So I started looking around for different tournaments that we could go to. We actually went out to Minneapolis that summer, and we went to Connecticut, I think, that year. So after that, every summer, I was just looking for tournaments, and we was raising money and going out of state. And we started running into the Rams. We started running into the Road Runners in these tournaments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we was right there. I had some good players, you know, over the years that you know, played successful high school, college basketball. Some of them had NBA tryouts, and you know, it was great, man, just to get the kids out of the community. And I didn't have tryouts. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted to play, you play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then most of it started from kids in that area, from Avon all the way over to like West Bigelow, West Ryan.
Yeah.
And like kids from Avon Avenue School, Madison, what other school was in that area? Peshawn. Like
Bergen, Peshawn, yeah.
Bergen, because I lived right behind Bergen. That's where we practiced at, in Bergen Playground.
Yeah.
They had no gym. But it was great, man. It just gave me a more drive to, you know, better my community, man, and help the kids, because a lot of these kids was living in, we living in one family homes, we in crime-ridden neighborhoods, and 15
people in one house.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't know what stuff outside this where you live.
Yeah.
Once it's kids that I done took to a different part of the city, and they be like, where we at? We in Newark. They be like, it's big houses like this in Newark. And it's like, yeah. And you're amazed. Right, but you're amazed, Weekway section, North Newark over on Lake Street, you know, and you looking like, damn, these kids. And it's crazy because we take for granted that, you know, it's stuff going on outside your community, but a lot of these kids don't. They only see what they see every day, and they don't think it's something bigger out there. And then when we started traveling, they're like, yo, why it's so clean out here? There ain't no trash on the ground. I said, people care. They care about their neighborhoods, man. You know what I'm saying? So it was an experience. It was more than basketball. And I always say that, more than basketball, because they're learning other things. And then you get a chance to catch them outside of their community, and you can talk to them and let them see other things that they be like, yo, I want to come back here. And it's like, yeah, I always tell my kids, if you go to college, go away. Yeah. So you can see something different, you know what I mean? And then come back with that experience and help these kids that's here now, you know what I'm saying?
And you mentioned some monumental people to me, because Sal and John, you know, that same 96, we all was in Eric Williams' camp down at the downtown. I think he had it at the I forgot where he had it at, but he had a camp that he would do, like 2-week camp. And that's when I met them, and we was going at it. And we was cool all through because we was the same age. We was all through high school. And when John passed away, man, that was crushing because young. And but now when you cross over to the gang community, and now you're going into the 2000s coaching, what was that like, man? Because that this took it to a whole nother level. Like losing players wasn't a regular thing in the 90s, but in the 2000s coming up, what was that like, that transition?
It was, I wasn't really aware of kids on my team that was banging like Blood, Crip, because they kept it away from me. And rest in peace, Coach Malik. They didn't want us to know because we gonna get on them. You know what I'm saying? Like we supposed to do. We're not gonna tell you. I mean, I can't tell you how to live your life, but I could tell you that if you continue to live it a certain way, what the odds, what might happen to you. You know what I mean? So I had kids on the team that was Blood, Crip, and they got along, and to this day they get along. And some incidents was stopped because they knew each other, because they all played for Zoo Crew, because they had that mutual respect for me. You know what I mean? And I heard about it years later, but I was actually in the midst of something down on Springfield Avenue because Court Street was right there, and they great. And some guys, the league is for everybody, but it was some Bloods in there, and they wasn't gonna let them out. You know what I mean? And one guy that was great told them niggas, yo, these my brothers, man. Nothing happening to them. They leaving out of here. They getting in the car and they going wherever they going.
Yeah.
And they let them go. And I'm thankful for that, because what if he wasn't there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To stop that. So, it stops a lot of things. And sports itself stops a lot of things. Because when I was younger, you could travel throughout the city because you played sports. Nobody bothered you. Oh, he played for such a, oh, that's such a, and you could just maneuver.
Yep.
Now it's a little different because these kids are trying to play sports and be involved in the nonsense, which you can't do because you ain't gonna be able to go nowhere.
You can't
travel throughout the city because that's why a lot of these kids, I don't mean to get off topic, but that's why a lot of them wear masks and these hoods, because they scared. Not because a lot of them not doing nothing wrong. They just scared for somebody to see them walking through a certain neighborhood and somebody gonna do something to them. So it's just crazy. But back in the 2000s, I kind of started to understand the gang culture. I kind of knew a lot of the OGs, that was, because I always tell people, man, if kids don't go to college that's successful in sports in high school, they become the names in the streets, whether people want to believe it or not. If a kid was good in football and he didn't go to college, but now he on the streets and he doing negativity, he one of the popular people because everybody already know him because he was already a superstar in high school.
Yeah.
So now in the streets, he still got a little credibility. So, and they become the OGs and the gang leaders and this and that. And, sometimes I talk to some of them and be like, yo, man, such and such, and they'll go talk to him and I'm going to get them back right. And they'll come back and play. Because I tell them, look, he got talent, man. He can go somewhere, man. He can't help you being here all the time. If he can get away and go do something else, it enhances the image of your gang. And I'm not saying that is right, but if you got somebody in your gang
he's gonna be there,
he could come back and I can school y'all. I mean, I ain't telling him he gonna denounce what he is, but now you got access to somebody that got information that you can use, no matter what career they choose to take, but they still gonna have ties to you, and you can use them, and hopefully you can get up out of this mess, man, because that's all it is, a big mess, man.
Definitely. So, going through, you started the clothing scenario. I mean, Zoo Crew clothing was always around.
Right.
Again, that's all we saw, the shirts growing up, and you told us why you started making the shirts, but we saw even kids coming to school or tournaments or wherever, rocking Zoo Crew gear and Zoo clothes and Zoo wear. How was it starting and opening up the store, in the city?
Well, the clothing, like you said, it was always going on, but we never really took it to another level with it. I was watching the Wu-Tang Saga, and I got to the end of the last season, with a dude. I forgot which one it was, but he
Power.
started. He's Power. Yeah, he started the clothing and all that, and he took it to another level. And I think we could have done that. And now, 25 years later, I'm in that mindset now. Like just from watching him, he gave me a little inspiration. Like, damn, they really. And he turned down big money, which I think probably should have took it, because at the back end you're gonna make the money on the back end. You know what I'm saying? And it's I like it, but you still get people who say, "Oh, nah, Zoo Crew." People come, "Oh, I had this jacket on, I had this shirt on." They asking me why you got on it. You know, it say apparel. It's not actual Zoo Crew. That's what I'm saying. So the name is still powerful in a negative way that some people won't put it on. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know the history of Hilfiger, Polo, Gucci, but you'll wear that all day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I ain't mad at you because you want quality. You know, it's cool. But some of the stuff we have is quality as well. But but people, I got an online site. People order offline that don't even know me, that'll buy some Zoo Crew stuff and wear it because they don't know the name as what everybody else think what it used to be. You know what I'm saying? All they know is Zoo Crew. Oh, that's clothing. Oh, that's basketball or whatever. But just opening the store. I had a store on Chadwick from 2005 to 2010. But again, the gang stuff was so prevalent. You know, that's a blood neighborhood.
Yeah.
There was shootings all the time around there. Not directed at me, but it's just like if you see
everybody standing outside the store. Yeah.
All right, you see people standing outside the store, the average person not coming in.
Yeah.
You know, because if I ride by somewhere and I see 6, 7 guys and I don't know them, I'm not getting out either. You know what I mean? So I just thought, after a while, I said, you know what, I got to find another location. So I closed in 2010. I said I would do it again if I ever found the location that was convenient, people not hanging out, the neighborhood not crazy. And 2017, I found the location that I'm at now, which was around the corner from where I was living on 6th Street and 16th Avenue. Okay. And I've been there since July 1st. Actually, July 1st will be 6 years that I've been there. So it's been a struggle. You know, it's a small business. You know, you try to compete with online stuff now, the mall and all that stuff like that, and but it's been paying the bills. I've been open 6 years, so I'm trying to enhance the wear, and because I think it can be enhanced, and I think it's a market for it. So I'm going to keep trying to push it.
And you've been able to work with some amazing kids that's now adults. One I got real close with is Mooka.
Mooka Marbury. Yeah. Evans. I was just talking to him.
And Mooka's doing phenomenal. We all went to school down south, and just thinking about those people who have those direct connections to the Zoo Crew, and thinking about partnerships with maybe these individuals to let them see that it's bigger than just what's going on at home, because these are people who went out. AJ's been all over the place. I know he's back home and he's doing some major things at home, but he's been all over the place. You got Kyrie play football, but Kyrie is out in Cali, doing some major things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. So people that I know that's directly connected to the zoo that can be, like make it to like a web, you know what I'm saying, where you can connect with these people and let them know that this is what bred them. They came from that,
Right.
And out there, I think that'd be a good look, because I just remember Mooka telling the stories about, you giving individuals places to stay sometimes, what I'm saying, and didn't have it, and feeding kids and things like that. And I don't think enough, because we were raised and we wasn't running towards the spotlight, running towards the camera, especially if you was doing something you had no business doing.
Right.
So we still take that into this portion of our life. But some of us have stepped out and made a very good name for ourselves, and people that came up under that Zoo Crew era. And I know some kids are probably playing in D1 schools, things of that nature. So have you ever talked to any of them and say, hey, let's collaborate? And I know you don't want to take nothing from them, besides, hey, I'm just a coach, but just understanding that this means more than just, something you doing for high school or, or basketball.
No, actually, I haven't reached out to anyone to say that. Only time I reach out to them is y'all should have something that says Zoo Crew on it. You're a part of this. If I got something going on, I never reach out to these guys for donations, anything like that. If they want to do it, they do it. But and some of them have, but like even when I ran for office, I had brought some guys together. Like, yo, y'all gotta. I never really asked y'all for anything.
Yeah.
I'm asking you for your support to go out, help out with the campaign, things like that. Some of them did, and then some don't because for whatever reason, I don't know, they might not have the time or just might be not something they want to do. So I don't force nobody to do anything. But you're right. I probably should reach out to different people to like bring it to the table and say we're trying to enhance the brand, and you're a part of the brand. And a lot of these guys are out of town. They live in other states, which is a good thing. And it's just, I mean, I just been thinking about a lot of things. I'm at that age now where it's like, how long are you gonna keep doing this?
But
what I'm saying? That's where
I feel it. I feel
right.
it.
That's where I'm at with myself. So I have to be able to want to do something else because I move around too much. So for me to just give up everything and don't do nothing, I probably wouldn't last that long. You know what I'm saying? Because I always got to move around and do something. So when I do give it up, I still want to be able to maybe not move around as much, but still be active in something. I don't just want to sit around and do nothing because that's just not me. And I don't think the only time I ever sat down for a long period of time was COVID. And that was killing me. You know what I mean? So other than that, I'm out the door at 8, back in the house at 9. That's just every day for me, and it's a routine.
Yeah.
So so I've been thinking about different things, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the things I want to do too. Reach out to these guys because I have a network of kids and people that's
all over the world at this point.
Right, that I've worked with, that I've helped. And I've never asked them for anything, to be honest with you, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think I got a lot of favors out there that I probably should use to my favor, to my advantage.
Well, you look, man, I didn't grow up in the area and then play the team, but you got my support. And I thought about it because we can't let that go. We can't let that go from the city and what it represents and what you mean to the city. And to all of us, we can't let that go. So, we all got an expiration date, but our businesses and the things we create shouldn't ever have one. You know what I mean? Right. So with that situation, I think that's a great move. Now, something that should have been out of the window because I thought it was amazing. I saw it was the documentary Best Shot. How did that come about, and how you feel about it?
Man, it was great, man. I mean, I even shed a few tears just watching it on the screen. You know what I'm saying? But and about 6 years ago, I was in my store. I wasn't even open yet. It was around June 2017, and some lady walked up. Now I don't know how she found out where I was at, and she was like, "Are you Coach McCray?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, "I want to talk to you." She had like an Australian accent. And she was like, "Yeah, we want to do a documentary on you." So I'm like, now my street sense is kicking in. Like who are you? What you mean you want to do a documentary? Where you from? Who you representing? Like documentary about what? You know what I mean? So we got to talking, and she was like, "No, it's a basketball documentary. It's going to be an NBA guy involved." I never knew who was involved until it actually happened. And she said, "Yeah, I'm going to give you a number to the producers, and they're going to call you in 2 weeks." She asked me about my team, what type of team I got coming back. Do I think we're going to be competitive? And I had a good team coming back. So I'm like, "Yeah, we're going to be competitive. I got good players, whatever." So she was like, "Well, somebody's going to reach out to you in 2 weeks." 2 weeks from that day, they called me, said, "We're going to set up a meeting on Skype." That's when they had the Skype set up. They ain't had all this stuff now, the WebEx and the Zoom and all that. You had to go on Skype and do all this other stuff. So I met with some producers, and no, actually I'm lying. They called me, they said, "We coming out there." I said, "Coming, what you mean you coming out here?" He's like, "We flying out from California." So now I'm like, "California? What you mean?" He's like, "No, we producers from California. We doing," and I'm like, "Oh, this must be some real stuff." Like, you know what I'm saying? So they came to the waterfront. They said, "We're going to be there at 12 o'clock. So I'm sitting there. We had the camp going on. So I'm sitting there. I was doing like the checking the kids in, but I'm sitting. I see 2 white guys walk up. It's like 11:58. I'm like, "Damn, this motherfucker's here at 12 o'clock." Like, so we talking, and the dude already said, yeah, you know, we heard about you, blah, 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 blah. We're doing a documentary about basketball with a coach that has ties to his community. So I'm like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, but only thing is, it's a coach from Brooklyn, it's a coach from Philly, and yourself that we looking at. So I'm like, high school coaches, they like, yeah. So I'm like, oh, wow. So in my mind, I'm thinking Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Newark. You know, Brooklyn and Philly are seem like they got more national recognition than we do here in the city of Newark. So at the time, I'm thinking they're not going to pick me. So then I met with the producers. They left and they set something up, said you're going to meet with another producers in 2 weeks. So I got on the Skype. It's about 8 people in the room. And they asking me all types of in-depth questions. And I'm answering them. I mean, I can't sugarcoat nothing. I'm telling them, answering the best of my ability. So at the end, they're like, Coach, we'll get back to you. So I'm like, okay, did I get it? And they're like, Coach, we'll get back to you. So I'm like, wow. So they had me in limbo for like 10 days. They called like the end of August, and they was like, we're going to do Central. And I'm like, word. Still at the time, I ain't know LeBron had nothing to do with it. I ain't know Jay Will was going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And they had to get clearance from Newark Public Schools and all that they was coming in. And the first day they came, man, I saw all this equipment. I said, "Oh nah, this is real. Like this ain't no like Joker walking around with one camera, you know, filming you and making a documentary." They had their own hallway where they had so much equipment. I'm like, wow, they had cameras everywhere. But long story short, you know, it was great doing it. The kids loved it. I mean, they were never in the way. I never nothing was staged. Everything that was shot was real time, you know, stuff. Sometimes I forgot I was mic'd up, I'd be bugging on the sideline when I'm coaching. So just to hear myself and see myself on the screen and I'm like, wow. But what really humbled me was like, I've been saying this stuff for 20, 30 years, and finally somebody captured it on the screen. Like all the stuff I've been saying, it's just been different kids placed in front of me, but the message always been the same, you know what I'm saying? Depending on the situation. And I was just happy to see that, man. I got to go to Miami for free. I got to go to Cali for 4 days for free. Like just to see how these people live. And it's like people really living life, man. And it bothers me sometimes because people really struggling too, like, and it's like, how is people able to live life like that while people really like struggling? You know what I'm saying? And it's weird to me, but it's a good feeling to be a part of it sometime. But then reality, because they like, Coach, you want to stay a couple more days? This was when I was in Cali. I'm like, nah, I gotta go back to work, man. Like, I gotta go back to reality. Like, this is all great, but this ain't, I had like a stipend every day, to spend money or whatever. But nah, I got to go back to work. You know what I'm saying? I got stuff I got to take care of. I'll be, some people were like, yeah, I'll stay out here long as you want me to. Nah, I don't have that luxury. I can't do that. I got things I got to put in place. I got things I got to do. But it was a great experience, man. Just, I never met Jay Will until he walked into the locker room that day in the documentary. That was my first time ever meeting him. I knew him as a player, but I never, met him as an adult. And it was great, man. The people were great, man. They was going to do part 2, but then COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what happened after that, but they haven't really reached out. Now they talking maybe 5 years just to see where all the kids at. Because, because Quan and Hottie, man, everybody, everywhere I went, they love them, the 2 people they love, man. You know what I'm saying? The sentimental people. Yeah, but the sentimental people always asked about Isaiah. How's Isaiah doing? Because of his situation. But they all doing good, man. I done got them some couple of dollars. We done went to a few places and spoke about Best Shot, and they done got paid for it and things like that. So actually, Quan wrote a script with the director of Best Shot, and they reached out to me and was like, the director said, I want you to read the script. I trust your I trust your judgment and what you would say about it. And he's like, we're going to pay you to read it. I said, you're going to pay me to read? So, this stuff be all new to me because
you like
everything people do in life, it's a price on it. I'm so used to just doing things, money come, it come. If it don't, whatever, I'll figure it out. But people really didn't pay. I said, you're going to pay me to read a script? I read it. It was a good script too. So they shopping it around now. Actually, Quan wrote it. He just helped them out with it. And maybe something good to come out of it.
And that's just a phenomenal scenario, man. I remember watching it and just thinking about watching where parents are talking about they're going to take them out of the hood with basketball and
right,
and
putting a
all
lot
that
of pressure
stuff.
on them.
Yeah, man.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, man.
For a kid and he ain't playing 2 years, and you putting all this pressure on this kid.
Yeah,
He's 5'7".
man. So it's just so tough.
But he can get you out the hood another way. What if the script take off and somebody buy the script for $10 million?
That's it, man. When I saw that, I was because my wife is from DC area, but she's from the suburbs, DC. So we come from two different sides of the track, and she would come up to Newark every week, every break, and see how we living. Then I go to her 2-parent household. You know what I'm saying? Just her and her little brother. That's it. And they got the 2-bedroom. I mean, the big house, 2 family, 2 cars. They both got careers, college graduates. And she coming. There's 15 of us in a 3-bedroom apartment.
Right.
Most of the people on drugs. She don't even understand what's going on. And that's what they were saying. Like, okay, if you get a scholarship, we out of here. Like, and you sitting there like, huh? That's too much pressure. So I just felt that hit me so hard when I saw the documentary, man. And so to think now, one thing you've been doing for a while is you've been turning your attention to politics.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what the final act? Is that the act right there? Is that the thing you think is going to be the exclamation point on your story?
I thought it was, but politics is like the streets, man. You just can't hurt nobody because you're going to jail. You know what I mean? In the streets, you can hurt somebody, might get away with it.
Yeah.
But in the political field, these people, they tough, man. They tough, and they'll block everything you're doing if you're not on the same side as them, or if you don't agree with whatever they doing. Like, I don't think that's me. I mean, I thought, I ran 14, 18, and 22. 14, I thought it was, I had a shot. I had a shot every time I ran, actually, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, when I'm running, people really saying, yo, you can't help the people. Why you want to be a councilman? Why? And I'm really like, really? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so why all these people be running for political office? And I've learned that it's for personal gain. It's not really, you can't really be 100% for the community and be a politician, because everybody not going to be on your side. So even if you put something on the floor and everybody vote on it, if those other 8 people are not with you, it's not getting passed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then I started understanding why people run on a team. Because if you got your whole team, man, and you put something to the floor, everybody going to vote yes. Even if it's not, even if I'm not in agreement with it, I'm supposed to vote yes. I don't get that. Like, that's just crazy to me. But I mean, I ran politics. I learned a lot. You learn who your real friends are when you run for politics, because if you're on one side and somebody's on the other side, and you've known people for X amount of years, even before politics, politics makes you enemies. And it's like, yo, what's going on? Oh, yo, the joke ain't speaking to me. I just two weeks ago we was just hanging out.
Yeah.
Then somebody tell you, oh, nah, he running with such and such and them, and nah, they can't be friends with you. So you letting another man tell you who you could be friends? Like, the politics is just crazy, man. I mean, it's. I always thought that, I always felt politicians wasn't really for the people. But I was in the era with Sharp James, man, and I saw him help people. And whatever he did. But he was a community mayor. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
He was in the community. He was at events. Like, I'm talking about by himself. Like, he ain't walking around with 14 people, and he was community. And I think, I think that's why they got him out of there, because if he would have ran that last time against Booker, he probably still would have beat him. So, you had to come up with something to get him out of there. That's what I'm saying. It's not like they don't play fair. If you're not doing what people ask you to do, they'll find a way to get you up out of there. And I always thought, some couple of times I did it out of spite, man, just to say, I'm not just letting people just walk in. They got to work to get in there. So, I ran, never really had a lot of money. But I was in the mix. At 18, I lost about 200 votes. You know what I mean? And I still believe I won because it's some other ins and out things that, you know,
I'm familiar.
we'll be here all day if I talk about that. But I really think I won. But, you know, I don't think people want somebody like me in there because I'm not going to walk around kissing no behind. And if I think something not right, I'm going to speak on it. Like, and I'm not going to agree with it. So, but I mean, it is what it is. You know, it's personal gain for a lot of people with these politics. That's why a lot of these guys sit in the Senate and in the House for so long, and then they run for presidency, and you be like, who is this guy? Then they tell you he's been a senator for 25 years. You never even heard of him, but they running for presidency and all that. But I mean, it's cool, man. I mean, I just don't like the fact that, you know, I don't care who take what, man. Everybody got, if you just think you deserve a couple of dollars here and there, then do what you got to do. But take care of the people, man. Don't let the community look the way it look. Let's get some programs for these kids. We need programs for these adults. We need a whole lot of stuff, man. I hate the crime. I hate the re-entry stuff. Where's the pre-entry stuff? You know what I'm saying? We got stuff for people that go to jail and come home.
Got to prevent them from going to jail.
Yeah, where the preventable programs at, so these kids don't go get caught up in whatever they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I love that. I love that. And we got to talk about that offline. That is amazing what you just said. Like for real. Like I love that pre-entry, not re-entry. So yeah, we definitely gotta coin that for real. And
and you know what they don't do? I don't think people, like, if I would have got in office, I would have made it my duty to go to everybody in the ward. Within 4 years, I think you can go to every person in the ward and introduce yourself. So then when it's time to run again, I don't have to go back and resell myself. These people already know me. You know, I've been to their homes. I talked to them. 4 years is a long time. And for you not to know people, I go out and campaign and people still don't know who their council person is in that ward. And this 4 years later. And, you know, a lot of people not in tune with the politics. But what I think they don't do, they don't go in the community and ask people. Like I said, I would go in the community and go to different sections of the Central Ward and say, if you had an opportunity to do whatever, or you wanted something in your neighborhood, what would it be? And now you take all this data and you go sit down. If everybody's saying the same thing, we got to create something for everybody in these different areas, because every area is not the same. So every area don't need the same things. You know what I'm saying? Society Hill is in the Central Ward. Their needs may be different than Court Street. You know what I'm saying? Which is a block away. You know what I mean? So I just think they don't go in the community and ask people what resources would you need. Like it's
too much like work, OG. That's too much like work, man.
People getting paid, man. That's a part-time job. You making $90,000 with a car.
Yeah, they think it's too much. Yeah, they think it's too much like work. And then now they go off for the data. I actually work and help a couple people on campaigns down south. And I saw it, man. Like it was a young lady who, just like you, it's all about the community, and they turned against her. Like they they were going after her, like for real, like smear campaigns, everything, because they didn't want her in there. Like the person who was going to do the right thing, they didn't want her in there. They wanted the people in there who was going to do what they want them to do. And she didn't come with that heart. She came with a heart of, I'm coming for the people. She did everything you said. She went and made sure she shook hands. The people, even her advisor was like, why are you meeting all these people? Some of these people not going to vote. You should just go with the people who voted.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. But they told me one time, they said, why you running? I said, man, I'm trying to help the community. It was like, the people that you think going to vote for, you know what we call them? I said, no, what you call them? We call them hobbits. I said, hobbits? You know, I'm like, a hobbit? What's a hobbit? Oh, people that sit in their little hole and say they're going to come out and vote, and they never come out and vote. So basically, you talking about people that live in low housing.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You a politician. This is what you think about the people in the community that don't really have much.
Yeah,
so that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy for you even say that to me. And these are the people. Yeah, these are the people I'm going after, because I respect them and they respect me. I'm trying to get them to come out so that, look, I can. If you vote for me and you don't see any change, then hey, vote me out. I get it.
Yeah.
But give me a shot. That's all I was asking.
They don't want it. They don't want it like that, man. They want people who coming in to play the same game, man. And so
But that game ain't working. You playing with people's lives, man. People
You're
dying.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So it's a different approach that's going to have to be taken. We haven't really figured out what that is. Right. But I think that being okay with creating a new game, because there's no way, like I always tell people, even in this country, I'm like, we 400 years behind, right? So I'm like, there's no way you run a track and they got a chance to run around a lap 400 times and you won't even jump in that race. You're going to be like, all right, you done? All right, let's start a new one now. Because I'm not jumping in. I already know I lost. So it's okay for us to start a new game and play a new game. And we're going to start, I'm here. Okay, you won. You know what? We lost. We're not going to sit here and try to see if we won a game that we 400 years behind.
Right.
Let's start this new game. And so everybody can't go. Everybody gonna be able to play. Some people that look like us can't go, but we're going to go and do it this way. And we're not even going to think about what happened before. We're going to start where we are right now. You know, in this community, this amount of people. So we dealing with 50 people, it could be 50,000, but we only got these 50 that's working. Well, y'all babies gonna learn. And so the next, when they have babies in 10 years, it'll be 5,000. And 10 years, that'll be 50,000. And then we're gonna be living a different way. You're not gonna grow your seeds where you see is already bad soil over there. You're just gonna keep putting them in there. Start fresh. Even if you only got 2 seeds, they'll turn to 20 seeds. But we always want more. Like, they'll buy Zoo Crew clothes if you already had 50 million people sitting there talking about you.
Right.
It's the same quality of clothes. Right. It's not that it's bad clothes. They buy popularity. They're not buying quality. They're buying popularity. You know what I'm saying? So we have to switch the narrative and start playing a different game. This is one of the reasons why, you know, I started this podcast, and the acronym is S.T.A.R.V.E, which is Stand Tall and Reclaim Victory Every Day.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't understand that it's a fight every day, but we got to sign up for that. We have to sign up for the fight. We get up in a fog most of the time. We let 10 days go by and not fight. Well, you can't let 10 seconds go by in the fight without fighting, because you're going to be knocked out. You know what I'm saying? But you got to understand that you're in a fight. You're in a fight, and you've been fighting it. A lot of times it seemed like alone. You know what I'm saying? And now you come to a point in your life where you're talking about making adjustments, making changes. For me, I believe that it's just now you don't have to change anything. The change is, who do I align myself with that understand what I've been doing, that obviously works. It's just not popular.
Right.
It's just it's pretty, you know, but it actually works. And who believes in the vision, and who's going to go on and help me take it to the next level. I think that's just where you've come to at this point. You agree?
Right. No, I definitely agree. I mean, but then it got to be somebody that's what I'm saying. You try to get people involved and let them help, and then you got to let people know that my name is on here. So people do certain things because of who's doing it. Oh, OG running the league, I'm getting in that league. I got people that pay to get in my league and won't get in a free league. That means a lot. You'll pay money to go to a league, but I ain't putting my team in no free league because that free league probably ain't gonna be right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I like. I've built that, you know, with people. I've built relationship. I got people coming into this city that don't live here, that's not afraid to bring their team or their kids here to play in a league in the middle of the Central Ward, across the street from a project, you know what I mean? And in the heart of an area where the riots took place, you know what I mean? So that says a lot. And for people not to see that, it's mind-boggling to me sometimes. But my passion doesn't allow it to bother me to the point where I'm out of here. Because I've had people say, yo, bring your league over here. I'm talking about to another city. Yo, bring your camp over here. Nah, I'm from Newark, man. I'm leaving in Newark. And sometimes I could get in my own way, but I know why I'm doing it. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it. You know, financial gain is great. You know, if you could gain money financially, I'm not telling nobody don't get money, you know, but don't get it to lose who you are. Don't let it, you know what I'm saying? It's a difference, you know what I mean?
Standards and principles, you know what I'm saying? That
a lot of people don't have that.
Lost those. Yeah, people lost those. So thinking about that acronym, Stand Tall and Reclaim Victory Every Day, what does that mean to you?
Stand on your principles, man. Standing tall means, like, you know, no matter what comes your way, no, this is how I feel. This is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna stand on it. Like, these people be saying I'm standing on business, and I'll be like, people run with words, man. Because everybody ain't standing on business. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's just a good thing to say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that to me means holding your ground and just doing what you feel is right. I mean, without what other people think about it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you gotta have your own mind, man. You gotta have your own mind. You gotta be able to like decipher who's who. Like, always running to people like, yo, we gotta get together, man. We gotta build. We gotta bring people together. And I said, how you gonna bring people together? It's like, nah, we just gonna have a meeting. So if you have a meeting, you open that meeting up to everybody. Everybody don't have the same common goal. Some people coming in there to see what's going on so they can report back to the next person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to be selective of who you call. Okay, I'm gonna bring 3 people in. We're gonna have this meeting, and then those 3 go back to their community and talk to. You can't bring everybody because everybody don't have the same. They don't have the same common goal, and that's where I get stuck at. Like, I just had a guy I saw in the post office. He was like, yo, I want to do something. I said, yeah, I got the league going on the weekends on Springfield Ave. Yo, I'm going to come down there and we're going to kick it. He ain't come down there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you see me and you just want to have a conversation. I ain't got no problem with that. But everybody can't come to the table, man.
And they want to see, and they want to, like, some people I've learned, people don't know how to address you. And so they want to just say something, you know, just for the sake of saying something and just saying, hey, brother, how you doing? Shake your hand and keep it moving. They feel like they got to have something, you know, significant to say to you, you know, and it's more about them than it is you, their insecurity or where it is, you know, as opposed to just saying, yo, how you doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
Keep it moving. You don't have to have all this other stuff. You know, I don't need to be, you know, pumped up. You know, I'm already pumped up.
Right.
I'm already pumped up.
And I'm not, I mean, people say I'm too humble, but yeah, like you just said, you don't got to pump me up. Like, I'm good. Like, accolades is great, but we still got work to do. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you'll meet a person or you see somebody and they say, oh, I've been looking for you. When they say that to me, I'm just like, this motherfucker, he playing games
because you ain't hard to find.
I'm heavy on social media. I'm at Central and I got a store. I'm not hard to find. If you around in the summer, all you gotta do is come on Springfield Ave in the summertime. I'm there all day. Yeah. So you're not really looking for me. But you know, like you said, that's people's insecurities and they just don't know how to approach you. So they got to come up with anything. But I mean, I'm approachable. People say I'm not approachable. I look mean and this and that. But that's just because if I don't really know you,
and we were raised that way. We were raised that way. You know, we wasn't raised to be all up in everybody's face.
Right.
You know, when I went to South Carolina after I graduated Weekway, it was kind of crazy because they speak to everybody, you know, down there. Like you just everybody say, hey, and you're like, oh, we had to get comfortable with that. You know what I mean? But it's benefited me because even when I came back home, I would disarm individuals. Now we know not to stare at each other, but if I walked into a corner store and I said, what's up to everybody in front of the store? It's like, all right, am I gonna act crazy to a person who just said, what's up to everybody? And it's like, they're like, are we good? Okay, and keep it moving. And so that's the neutralizing, like, instead of you paying attention to who is that? Oh, he said hi. And he actually smiled when he said it. So, okay. So we can learn those things. But at the end of the day, if they from Newark, they know what it is. You know what I'm saying? And so that's not true. We all know how to navigate that space. And we come from that era where it's just like we knew how to go into other places and move properly. So it's all excuses. So the last part of it is reclaiming victory every day. What did that part mean?
Reclaiming victory every day.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I guess that means like just doing the same thing, like reclaiming victory. Like you waking up every day and you just trying to, you know, make sure everything is the same or better. You know what I mean? Like it's all positive. It's not negative. Like just moving forward, man. You know what I'm saying? Like just reclaiming victory. I mean, it says it for itself. It's like, you know, you're just trying to move forward, man, and don't lose that balance you have. You're just moving forward. You're not trying to fall backwards.
Yeah, I always when we came up with the acronym, it was off of the fact that with that portion there is, like I said, understanding that we are in a fight
every day.
And so every day when we get up, we could have had an amazing day yesterday. We could have hit the lottery yesterday, and then something bad can happen the next day. And it was during COVID when we found out, you know, because I put together my 3rd book, And we was talking about morning motivation. That's the name of the book. But we're talking about consistent encouragement through a crisis. I said COVID is a crisis, but it's not the first crisis.
Right.
And it's damn sure not going to be the last crisis.
Sure
so
is.
how do you stay motivated? And how do you reclaim your victory every day? Because if something, and you talking about in business, something go wrong to somebody's business every damn day. You know what I mean? Somebody can literally not show up. You like, hey, you get a call, hey, I ain't opening up the store because I quit. It happens to somebody all the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, or somebody stealing out of the store. Somebody did this at the store, or you can't get your shipment on time. Like, it's so much stuff that happens. And when we get in that mindset, we understand what that means. I think we can actually reclaim the victory every day, because we're going to dwell on what's positive. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can handle that. Somebody didn't get their shipment before on a day. You call the customers and say, hey, we got a delay. You take care of it tomorrow. We got this going on. And crisis averted. It don't have to be running away, tucking in, scared, hiding. You know what I'm saying? Like, the world is out there for you. And you can ride the wave, you know what I'm saying, or go against the wave. But you dictate how you handle that wave one way or the other. Don't let the wave dictate you. And so that's how we felt about that when we created it, man. Look, this has been amazing for me. This is actually my longest interview, but I was so happy to get on with you, bro, man. Like, and we gonna definitely, and I'm not blowing no smoke up your ass. You know, I hit you last year when I was talking about starting my own team, because I saw you do it. And we've been talking back and forth ever since. So we're gonna continue doing this, man.